Welcome to L&H Industrial, honestly better mental fitness. I found mental fitness a few years ago, and it changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And now we're bringing it to all of L&H Industrial to put it out to the rest of the world. Thank you for joining us.
And everybody wants to know it's strange mental fitness. We just defined it, and Mike's we're investing in it. And there's a book coming out. We have these podcasts, but the fact of the matter is, if I'm going to connect with a guy via Zoom, what the heck is going on, and what does this all look like? So we're going to take this time, for everyone to just answer, a question on the process. And I took a whole bunch of the questions that get asked, and I chunked it into one, but just how does this all come together?
First, I was going to acknowledge the total awkwardness of hopping on to a Zoom call with a person you've never met and then talking about things that may be difficult for you in life, or sharing your secrets and desires of what you would like for your life here. So I totally understand that. And I'd say almost nobody after 20 minutes feels that way anymore. Yeah, I'm not intrusive. You lead it. I think that might be a key, and that's some of the feedback that I think we got before is like, oh, got it. Like I thought I'm going to get on here and this person's going to pick me apart and scrutinize me and tell me what I'm doing wrong and all this sort of stuff. And it was mostly the first session. I shut up. I just ask a couple of good questions and get out of the way, right? And I let you explore, and it's just a discovery of what are the things that are important to you. What do you want to achieve with this time? What are the things that you would like to accomplish through working together? And it's hard to answer any specific questions about what exactly we'll do because it's totally different. It could be my focus. The first focus is helping discern and articulate what are the obstacles, challenges in the way for you to be your optimal self, and defining what is that optimal self that you would most like to be. What is that life that you would be sad to go to bed and excited to get up every morning? You're like, man, I wish I could just squeeze in a few more days because life is so awesome. Now, what would that look like? Like articulating that, defining, having the courage to articulate and define that. Because that's terrifying. Once I say it, then, oh shit. Now, if I don't do it, like, you're right. I could feel worse if I say it. So I'm just going to not say it. I'm going to keep it back. I'm going to keep it in. So having the courage to like articulate that, define that, what it is that I most want in life. And then we talk about what's getting in the way of you accomplishing that, achieving that. What are the tools, things we do along the way to get from where you are to where you'd like to be? It could be discovery through conversation. It could be once challenges and problems come up, talking about different topics. Could be sharing knowledge, wisdom of physiology, neuroscience, experiences from military stuff in there, about how to conquer, overcome, achieve goals in there. Maybe emotions that come up that are difficult to sit with. We may just sit with them in the session, right? I may also give you different exercises to do during the week. If you feel anxiety, if you feel anger, if you feel guilt, right? I might give you questions to sit on during the week. When we get to a really good question, really deep question, it's like, oh wow, I'm gonna sit with this one this week. It might be reflection that we give. Sometimes I'll give breath work or meditation or different like sound files to give you that may help you like learn to sit with these things that are coming up. When I say sit with things, that's also part of the answer to the question of what gets in the way of change, of our inability to face what we need to face. One of my favorite quotes that I probably shared a couple of times is something about the measure of a man is how much truth he can tolerate. And a lot of times the things that are getting us, hurting us, we just keep putting them away. And I shared earlier the truth that it can neither accept nor deny. I hate what I do, and I feel like I'm stuck doing what I have to do because I need to feed my family. I'm not happy in this, but I'm also not willing to leave, in a relationship or whatever it is, right? And to be able to face that, I think we'll go days, weeks, years, months, decades feeling it under the surface, but never just like bringing it up and being like, all right, do I choose this? Like, all right, yeah, great. I don't really like this thing, but I'm going to choose this thing because this is the choice I make. And then just doing it and accepting it and bring it to the surface and come into peace with it, as opposed to I hate myself for doing it and I hate myself for not doing it. I hate myself for continuing to do this thing, but also not willing to do anything about it. And then don't like myself because I'm not willing to do about it. And it's like this anxiety is like this push pull. Like, where's the friction, the tension, the disagreement, the misalignment within ourselves in here? So what do we do when we bring those things to the surface? First, we let them come to the surface. Sometimes we make space to come to the surface. Sometimes that's super uncomfortable. Sometimes this might be the first time that you've said these words out loud, that you've admitted it to yourself, and just to sit with it. And I'm using that term sit with it because I think that's my definition of courage, is like, it's not the absence of fear, it's the ability to be with, and if appropriate, move forward or take action in the presence of discomfort. We also talked about what gets in the way of change. Fear and discomfort. Right? Like, I'm going to do this. I'm more comfortable here than I am there. Right? Okay. I'm afraid that if I do this, I'll fail. Or if I try this, I might find out that I am that person that I am a failure because I don't do it, or whatever that deep thing that you're afraid of, whatever those, 72,000 negative thoughts that are telling you. Like, my approach is not to ignore. And that's what we do. And that's why they keep coming up, time after time after time, because we're like, it comes up and I dismiss it. It comes up and I dismiss it. And then I say it and I speak it. And I'm like, oh shit, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid I'm X, Y, and Z. I'm not good enough. I'm going to be alone. I'm whatever it is. And I think one of the first steps is to just accept that truth, tolerate it, be with it, not turn from it, not run from it. Say, yeah, look it straight in the face and say, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm worried about. And then I brought in the earlier, it's like, we go to the why. Well, why am this way? Because I'm broken and because I'm this and kind of that. No, the question is, okay, what now? Right? And it's okay. Actually, maybe I'm okay with that. Maybe it's just fine. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. What now? Right? It doesn't mean you have to make a radical change. Could just mean allowing this thing. And I also hear this thing, like, when someone says something hurtful to us, that hurts us, I would dive into, I might say, like, it hurts us because we believe that it might be true. Some things that someone says to us, we know it's fundamentally not true. We're like, we just dismiss it. No, I'm not. I'm not whatever you're saying. If someone says something like, well, what? You can think that? I can't believe you think that about me, or whatever. It's because I might think that about me. I'm not totally sure. And part of this is the ability to just say it, sit with it, face it. And then once we get through all the fear and the things and the shame, like, I think shame and guilt are probably one of the most dangerous, I'd say harmful, destructive things, because it's like, I don't like this thing, and I'm going, and I don't like it so much that I can't even admit to myself that it's there. And so I'm going to bury it and hide it. And then it just sits there and rots and fests there, as opposed to, yeah, I suck at that. Right. I'm that way. Yeah, totally. I am. And now what? And some of the answer to the question, and now what? Now I'd be like, okay, great. We've identified this. this is where you are and this is where you want to be. Great. First is to sit with it, to learn to embrace it, accept it, allow it. And then second is, now what do I want to do with it? The question of what do I want to do with it? It could be knowledge. It could be training in different areas. It could be practice. It could be goal setting. I'm terribly embarrassed to speak in public and I don't want to be that way. All right, cool. Guess what your challenge is this week? Right? I suck at listening to my spouse and they say stuff and I get angry. Okay, cool. Guess what your challenge for the week's gonna be? Sit there and ask them how their day was and not say anything for 15 minutes and just listen, and then do more than just listen. Write down what you heard and then read it back to him or her and then ask them, is this the way you feel? Is this what's going on? Right? Okay, cool. There it is. Here's our training part, right? My legs are not strong. Guess what we're doing in the gym this week? We're probably going to start squatting this week, right? We're identifying the weaknesses within ourselves and then we go work on it. What the thing that we're working on is a lot of things. And I'll bring in all sorts of tools, all sorts of knowledge. I might put you on a path to go research stuff. I might share stuff that might be helpful. We go through it. We dive into it. And what your goals are in the beginning are sometimes completely different than where you end. Like in the physical realm of, I'm thinking of a guy that came to me he was an overweight bus driver, unhappy with his life and what he was doing, and he was miserable and depressed, right? And his whole goal was to not be miserable and depressed anymore, right? But then we changed okay, let's do the big things. Are you sleeping and are you eating well and are you exercising, right? And we changed those things, and I started feeling better, right? And then that started shifting, and now this guy's a professional MMA fighter, right? And he went from like, my goal was to not be miserable to like, what can I achieve? And another woman that I worked with that was an elementary school teacher who, the same thing, it was just not in a good place. And so we worked together, and then she started getting in a great place. And then she realized actually her passion was outdoors, and now she's off climbing the 7 tallest summits of the world. And your goals on day one may not be your goals on day whatever that we're working on, right? What you can achieve where you start is often not where you are. And so, but we start where you are. And my name, I don't think I've shared this. My name is, the root word of my name is Travers. I actually always hated my name because you look it up and it says Crossroads. And I'm like, oh, fuck, great. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You're like, you plagued me with indecision my whole life or something. Like, guy to sit at the crossroads, can't figure out life. Thanks. And I realized I went through this crazy process of discovery of looking up this word called transcend in it. And I was like, everyone's talking about this. What does it mean? So it means to rise above something. And then I see in the thesaurus, and it says, see also root word, traverse. And then I look at traverse, and it means to like move through. And then it says, see also Travis. I'm like, hold on, what? Why's my name in here? And okay, I guess I have to click this link here. And it comes from the root word travers, and it means a guide or a gatekeeper that helps people transition from one place to the next. And I think that's my role. That's my role, is to meet you wherever you're at. I don't care where it's at. I've seen people from all places. I've worked with astronauts and I've worked with overweight bus drivers that are unhappy in life, right? And my goal is to help you plot, plan, and get to wherever it is that you want to be or go. I have no predefined notions of where you should or shouldn't be. I am the last person to tell anyone on earth what you should or shouldn't do. My role is to help you figure out what you would like to do. And sometimes the shoulds that we put on ourselves, we figure out, I actually don't want to do. I've been shaming myself for doing this and I hate this. And actually what I love is this thing over here, right? And that's great. And that's part of the discovery of the process. Mike brought in the know thyself, love thyself, right? I don't think you can love yourself until you know yourself, right? And so part of this is discovering who you are and then learning to embrace that and change what you want to change, go where you want to go. So that's it. You can see me as a bridge or a guide from the life and the place you are now to where you want to go. And we'll bring any tools we need to get you from there to there.